What can connect ideas like a zip, can make abstract concepts land like a punch to the gut, but can often be as cliched as a deer in the headlights? Why? A simile, of course. A simile is one of those things that many people simply forget about the moment they step out of their English classroom. Which is a shame really, because like many basic literary devices, it can be a precision tool that can come in handy sometimes, like a Swiss Army knife. Understanding what similes are and how they work can help you better understand idiomatic language and write with greater confidence. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two different things using the words like or as. Very often this is to convey the quality or magnitude of something. Her smile was like a sunshine, he was as quiet as a mouse, the news hit me like a freight train. In each of these cases, two unlike things are being compared. We're saying that the smile might make someone feel better, that makes them seem like they're radiating, makes them feel more optimistic. All of these qualities that we culturally associate with sunshine. As quiet as a mouse, you can hear the gentle padding of the feet maybe, or perhaps the tiniest of squeaks. So not completely silent, but damn near close to it. Hit me like a freight train. You can see we're not talking about a local tram pulling into your station. We're imagining those mile-long juggernauts ploughing through the town at full speed, decimating trucks stopped at level crossings. Now if all of these phrases seem familiar, it's for a reason that we'll come back to a little bit later. But the key thing that a simile needs to work is that they have to compare two unlike things. You wouldn't go, the saddle on Mary's bike was slung low like a Schwinn's, which compares a bike to another bike. But you might go, her bike saddle was low slung like a backyard hammock at the end of a long summer. Okay, before we get onto the juicy stuff, I want to talk about another literary device, which, like close cousins, similes are often mistaken for. Similes and metaphors both compare two unlike things, but the difference is in how they make that comparison. A simile, as we said before, uses the words as or like to signal the comparison directly. Life is like a box of chocolates. A metaphor drops this signal and states the comparison directly. Life is a box of chocolates. With a simile, the reader is invited to hold two things alongside each other and consider the similarities. In a metaphor, the two things are fused, and we are asked in that comparison to imagine as if those things were one and the same. Neither is better than the other. They create, I would say, slightly different effects. A simile tends to be more conversational, more factual, more literal, something you'd see in a non-fiction write-up, something descriptive. A metaphor has that added artistic element and can be more immersive. Which one you use will depend on your circumstances and your own particular tastes as a writer. One of the most useful things to know about similes, especially if you are learning English, is that they are deeply woven into everyday speech. Many common idioms and expressions are similes. As cool as a cucumber, sleeps like a baby, fits like a glove, runs like clockwork, eats like a horse. Culturally, these things have come to epitomize certain qualities. Nothing is as efficient or reliable or smooth as clockwork, even though quartz movements would keep time better. Nothing in this world is hungrier than a horse, which is patently untrue if you've ever met my sister's kids. You'll hear these seemingly twee comparisons in everyday conversations, read them in news articles, and find them in everything from pop songs to legal documents. You might even say that they are as baked into the language as raisins in fruitcake. Because similes are so common in everyday language, they're also figures of speech that are most prone to going stale. For newcomers, a cliché is a phrase that has been repeated so often that it no longer produces the intended effect. It goes in one ear and out the other without the reader really registering what it means. Let's take a look at this sentence. The courtroom fell as silent as a grave. Now, this uses a simile, but it's one that we've seen so many times that the image has lost its power. The average reader reads that, and a picture of a grave or a graveyard probably doesn't even come to mind. Instead, you might choose to write, the courtroom fell so quiet you could hear the hum of the air conditioning. Now, this doesn't use a simile at all, but is far more alive because it's specific and sensory. Here are some more of the most overused simile cliches in writing. As white as snow, as white as a sheet, like a deer in headlights, as strong as an ox, like two peas in a pod, as blind as a bat. In casual conversation, I think this is fine. We use cliches all the time and it's normal. And if you're new to learning English, these cliches are actually a great way to fit in. But in creative writing, where you have the luxury of time to think about your word choice, a cliche simile is a missed opportunity. That moment of comparison is one of the most interesting things that a writer can do. Squandering it on an image that a reader has already seen 100 times is no small failure of the imagination. The good news is that writing a fresh, effective simile is not about being clever, it's about being specific and observant. Here's what separates a strong one from a weak one. A strong simile uses unexpected but logical comparisons. The best similes create a small jolt of surprise followed by immediate recognition. The two things being compared seem unlikely on the surface, but the moment you read it, it clicks. Langston Hughes' poem Harlem is like a jewelry box of unexpected, though perfect similes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? With this simile, he's talking about a concept, that of someone postponing their ambitions, and it gives you this image of something once so full of vital juices now shriveling up. The simile is so potent that Lorraine Hansberry used it as the title of her play, A Raisin in the Sun, and in so canonizing the phrase as something that means having to give up on your dreams. Secondly, a good simile is specific. Vague comparisons produce vague images. As fast as something quick does nothing for us. In Our Man in Havana, Graham Greene deploys a fantastic specific simile in describing a setting. A big wardrobe stood open, and two white suits hung there like the last teeth in an old mouth. That provides a visual cue that you can picture. The doors flung open so it's broad like a mouth, and these two maybe slightly yellowing white suits gently swaying perhaps. It lets us see this image and also implies something about the quality of the setup, how it might be old and tattered and having seen better days. In writing, a good simile should also fit in with the voice and the world of the piece. A character who grew up on a farm might compare a crowded city street to a cattle pen at market day. A musician might hear a tense silence and think that it is like the moment before a note drops. Your choice of simile can convey so much about your narrator or POV character's worldview as anything else. The detective author Raymond Chandler was the master of the inventive, witty simile. And they work because they belong to Philip Marlowe's Los Angeles. They're cynical and sharp and slightly absurd. I drove back to Hollywood feeling like a short length of chewed string. She smelled the way the Taj Mahal looks by midnight. He looked about as inconspicuous as a tarantula on a slice of angel food. In a literary novel, these similes might feel out of place, but in Chandler's Los Angeles, they're perfect. So perfect that similes like this have become clichés of the noir detective genre. Overused to the point where if you are thinking of writing a hard-boiled mystery, you should probably think twice about using them. And finally, a simile should earn its place. As literary devices go, they're the big guns. They draw a lot of attention to themselves. In a perfect world, every simile should reveal something. As in our previous examples, they should tell us something new about a character, a moment, an emotion, rather than just decorating a sentence. If you removed it, would the reader miss out on something? If not, consider cutting it off like a bar patron who's had 3 too many. And with that, we've come to the end of our video on similes. Why not try out one for yourself? Write a truly unexpected though logical simile and share it with me in the comments. Remember to like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more great stuff like this every single week. I've been Martin from Reedsy, and I'll see you on the shelves.